Good morning. It is now about 10 a.m. on the 31st of October, so happy Halloween. I have a bit of a channel update, bit of a chat. I'm going to do it as I wanted to do a cozy reading vlog this week, a Halloween reading vlog. I was going to do it in the week, but I had some unexpected work happen, so wasn't able to have my little day to myself to just read and write and craft and all the things that I really never get a chance to do except for snatches here and there since I started working again and tutoring way back in the spring. So this week I had planned, because it's half term here in the UK and I usually work Thursdays, Fridays in a school, I was going to take Thursday and Friday off. But then one of my other jobs, which is very exciting, I'm really excited about, threw some unexpected work at me. And it was really good work, but it was a lot. It was unexpected and it had a deadline, which was this Monday. So I promised myself that if I got the work finished by Saturday, and I did at 8 p.m. last night, I would have today to myself to just read, vlog, catch up on all my Spread Book Joy stuff. I filmed a reading wrap up yesterday, which I wasn't happy with. I took a sort of half-hour break to do that and I didn't enjoy it when I looked back at the footage, so I thought I would just make that part of this vlog. I'm going to take you along. I really hope you can hear the wind whistling through my chimney at the moment. I'm going to try and capture some of it on my microphone later so you can hear what I can hear right now. It is kind of stormy, so it's the perfect atmospheric weather that I ordered. We've got a bit of rain, wind, grey skies, and the wind is whistling around the house. So very atmospheric for the Victober, last day of Victober. So my plans, I'm going to talk a little bit as the video goes on, in between footage of me reading and doing whatever else I choose to do today, and drinking huge amounts from my massive cup of tea. I love this cup. I won this on an Instagram giveaway, and it's by an amazing artist called Kate, whose Etsy shop called Bagsy Me First. She's on Instagram as @BagsyMeFirst. I'll link it in the description box. I was really lucky to win this mug. She hand paints everything and I got to select 12 of my favourite books to put on it, but it's huge and it's perfect for when I want to sit and read and I want the biggest cup of tea in the world. So I've had a lovely bath, relaxing bath. I've got my diffuser running. I've got my candles on. I've got Coraline to keep me company, because spooky Coraline doll for Halloween, and my reading plans. So my reading plans are to read some of Elizabeth Gaskell's Gothic Tales, because I plan to do part of that for the group read along for Victober and I never did, so I thought they'd be perfect for today. I've also got the follow-up book to The Haunting of Aveline Jones, which is called The Bewitching of Aveline Jones, and I'm hoping to read all of that today. I'm being a bit ambitious, but it is a middle grade and it's not very long, and I'm sure once I get into it I'll whiz through it. And I've also got another book that I'm reading at the moment, which is called The Last Dog on Earth, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a dystopian novel set in London, and it's from the perspective of a man and his dog's perspective as well. And I will talk about it when I finished it, but I saw it recommended on Alice's channel, Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Thanks for the recommendation, Alice. Loving it. So yeah, I'm doing all of that because I have some other reading plans coming up, which I will talk to you about a bit later on. But for now, grab a cup of tea, and if you've got a book you want to read, you can read along with me. Just going to get into my reading, enjoy my candles, enjoy the spooky atmosphere, and enjoy my spooky reads. I'm hoping my microphone picked that up, because you can just hear the wind in our chimney. Our house is a Victorian terrace in North London, so it's about 120 years old, and that's our really old fireplace. When we got the house, I'll put some pictures up, there was an electric or a gas fire in here, and we ripped it out back to the old brick, and we put in this Cosy wood burner, which is just I love it. It's not too cold enough to put the wood burner on, but I'm just going to light some candles and make it as nice and cosy as possible. But I thought I'd just let you know I can hear that wind through the chimney, which is kind of perfect spooky reading atmos. The wind's really blowing. So if you've ever wondered what was the other side of where I normally film, this is it. It's our living room, our fireplace, our bookshelves. My bookshelves are a mess. I am not someone who organises by colour. I like to organise by size, but at the moment space is at a premium, so my books are all double parked. Triple parked in the case of my children's books over there. Thought I'd catch you up on some of the things I've been reading in October. So I didn't do an October wrap up. This is the last day of October. I'm hoping to have a few books finished by the end of this reading vlog. So part of the vlog I thought I'd just do my reading update, I'm going to call it, because it's not a wrap up, it's an update of what I've read so far this month, what I finished, what I'm still reading. First thing I finished was Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell, which I buddy read with Claudia over at Spencer's Library. We've both got extensive reviews on this, so I'm going to put links to both those videos in my description box. But this was a lovely, cosy, domestic, set in the fictional town of Cranford, and as most Victorian novels were, it was serialised, so it doesn't really have this cohesive narrative running through the story. It's just more like a collection of stories about the characters who live in this small town, rural town in northern England. Yeah, it's lovely, full of cosy domestic details, lots of humour, some tragedy, all very well written, and I loved it. I also finished The Picture of Dorian Gray, which was a group read that I hosted with Claudia. We hosted it over on Goodreads and on Instagram. To be fair, with all the busyness in my life lately, I didn't really get onto Instagram as much as I would have done daily, posting my ideas and stories, but I finished this on Monday and I posted a review of it over on Instagram, which I'll link to in the description box. I don't know if I'll do a full review of it on YouTube because I've got a lot of videos backing up that I've not got around to doing, but this is actually everything I thought it was going to be. It was a book that made me think. It was a book full of quotes, constant quotes that you just think, yes, are the ones you've heard of, you know, like these days people know the price of everything and the value of nothing, all those kinds of quotes that, you know, Oscar Wilde is famous for, often attributed to him, but actually he didn't say them, he wrote them for characters to say. So but there were so many things in here which were funny, which were profound, which I loved. The sort of, you know, everyone knows the story, and if you don't, it's about a beautiful youth called Dorian Gray who has a portrait painted of him, and he wishes that the picture would grow old and he would stay young forever. But it's actually really more about a tale of corruption and morality and influence, and whether other people actually do influence us for the good or for the better, or whether they're our own choices, which is what I took from it at the end of the novel. And I'm no spoilers, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I didn't know the full story, so there were some shocks and surprises in it for me. I literally just knew that background that everybody knows, but it's very short, and I'd recommend reading it if you've not read any Oscar Wilde before, which I hadn't, apart from his children's stories. Fantastic read. The other book I finished, which I don't have a copy of because I read it on Kindle and I listened to the audio as well, is Dear Mrs. Bird by A.J. Pearce, which is historical fiction set in World War II, and it's wonderful. It's about a girl called Emmy Lake, woman called Emmy Lake, who she wants to be a war correspondent, but she gets a job thinking she's going to be a journalist and ending up basically typing up the letters for this agony aunt, Mrs. Bird, who is quite a character who doesn't really want to answer real problems if they're anything to do with relationships or anything that she deems to be unsuitable for her readers. She just wants to answer sort of domestic problems and things like that, but people are writing in about all the issues that they're having in their lives to do with relationships, to do with the fact that there are men off fighting in a war. And what I really loved about it was a very easy read, but it was very humorous, but when there were hard moments, they hit really hard, and it was really emotional actually at certain points. I also really liked the fact that it drew attention to the plight of women in the war. The women, not the women who were volunteering, although one of the main character is a volunteer with the fire service, and it's during the Blitz. So it wasn't just so much about the women who volunteered and the women who served or did the land army work or anything like that. It was just about women being left home to get on with life, and they were expected to keep their chins up and to be cheerful and jolly for the men, because the men were off fighting and the women couldn't show them that they were upset in any way. They had to, even though their lives were being turned upside down, they had to keep their stiff upper lip, keep their chins up and be jolly and all those kinds of things. And I think there was a thread of that running through the book with everybody. Everybody was expected to be positive and not, even if their house was destroyed, people were expected to not let others see that had broken them. And I just found that really interesting side of the war that's never really spoken about. So, and it did make me wonder, with everything we've been through the pandemic, how we as a generation would have coped with the Blitz. Probably nowhere near as well as that generation. Though it didn't mean that they didn't have their trauma and their mental health issues afterwards. But yeah, it was a great book. I'm reading The End of the Last Dog on Earth at the moment because I've only got about 40 pages left to go on that, and I really want to finish it. So after lunch we wanted some sweet things, went to the shop and I bought some snacks for the next couple of days of relaxing and reading. So because it is Halloween, I haven't had one in years, I bought a toffee apple. So we've got some zesty orangey cakey bars, but look, because it's Halloween they're purple, and looks all very Halloweeny, like the sugar skulls on here. Then I bought the ultimate sweet Haribo but scare mix. So we've got some scary bobs and bits in here. We've got some green fried eggs. We've got some blood orange Boo Bears, cherry Boo Bears, etc. Yeah, so I've got some nice jelly sweets, but scary style. We bought a Whisper. We bought a Kit Kat Chunky, and we bought Cadbury's Boost Duo, double size. So yeah, so I am all set up for all of the sugar, all of the badness that comes with Halloween, all set up for it. Very excited. I'm going to be nibbling on these while I read some of my stories. Good morning. It's 1st of November. It's Monday morning, so I thought I'd update you on my day yesterday and how my reading went. I've got a team meeting in about 5 minutes online, so I just thought I'd do a very quick update. We went for dinner, but my partner thought he'd booked the pub for dinner and it turned out he hadn't, but luckily this amazing Italian restaurant that we have been to before had a free spot and we had the most delicious Sunday dinner anyway. And when we got back from that, we had a long lazy dinner, then a long slow walk back, picked up a lot of snacks which I showed you in the video, and we just ate those and watched TV. I didn't read anymore, though when I went to bed I did finish The Last Dog on Earth, so that's one of my wrap-up books, and I'm just going to say I really enjoyed it. The Last Dog on Earth is all about a dog called Lineker and his owner Reginald, who they feel like they're the last people left in London after London's been decimated by bombs and people have left. And you know, as the book goes on, we find out more and more about what's happened to Reginald, what's happened to, because Reginald doesn't like being near people, so it suits him really well that London's cleared out. And we find out that there's trauma and why he's like that. And we see things from Lineker's point of view and Reginald's. I think one thing I'd be very wary of if you read it is that Lineker swears a lot with very extreme words, extreme. So it didn't bother me, but this might bother some people. I really, really enjoyed it. So Alice recommended that from Alice and Giant Bookshelf. Loved it. If you like dystopian fiction, then I think it's a good one. So yeah, I started The Bewitching of Aveline Jones. I'm about halfway through that, and so far I'm loving it. I don't think I'm loving it as immediately as I did the first book, but as I'm getting into it and the mystery, it's wonderful. It's a middle grade. If you're not familiar with Aveline Jones, the first book, The Haunting of Aveline Jones, is a wonderful spooky middle grade read, and this is all about Aveline's adventures on holiday, where she finds some standing stones, and they're called the Witch Stones, and she meets a mysterious new friend, and lots of mystery going on. But anyway, so today the plan is I'm going to take a bit more time off to myself. Normally I wouldn't on a Monday, I'd be working a lot, but I've got a team meeting. I've got lessons from 4 till 7:30 this evening. So in between that, I think after this team meeting, my partner and I are going to take a lovely walk near the local wetlands and come back, and I'm going to make beetroot tart. And I'll also talk to you about my reading plans and finish off wrapping up the rest of my books that I read this month. So yeah, happy Monday so far, everyone. So some of the other reading that I did in October I haven't told you about was this, which was my booktube spin number 4 pick. I decided to try and start reading some of my ancient literature again because I've got quite a lot of it left over from my degree, and booktube spin picked this, Plutarch's Makers of Rome, which is a lot of biographies of very prominent figures in the history of the Roman Empire, and it's really entertaining, and as it should be. Plutarch was famous for very dramatic historical recounts, like to embellish and liked his stories to be entertaining. So whilst it's not necessarily historically accurate, it is highly entertaining, and yeah, it's the first time I've read any ancient literature for a while, and I don't know why, because it's so good. Last thing I wanted to talk to you about is some upcoming reading plans. Now, if you're someone who's been trying to plan a buddy read with me, you'll know that I've been saying quite a lot, oh, in the new year, in the new year. The reason is I've been planning for some time now take part in a group read along of War and Peace. So yeah, whew, what a brick. So War and Peace I've wanted to read most of my life. Most people do think at some point they'll try some Tolstoy, I think, if you like classics particularly, and the group read for War and Peace has been something I've joined in on. I'll link the account that's running it, my friend Anna the Books I Read, but I'm also going to be sort of chatting to my friend Sally from at Salbo Reads about it as we work our way through. This is supposed to take us to the end of January, I believe. I watched some really interesting videos today. One of them was Shelley Swearingen's video. She talked about TBRs and reading plans, and yeah, I try not to make too many, and I'm going to have a little response video to what she'd talked about, but because I knew this was coming up, I tried to clear my decks a little bit, not necessarily of all my reading, because I don't want this to be the only thing I read, but enough so that I can concentrate on this and devote the time to it that it needs. But I'm going to talk a bit more about that. I'm going to link Shelley's video about the TBR conundrum in the description box below, and I am going to do a little response video. Oh, the other things I did when we went for our walk, you might have seen, we saw another little free library, but that's another thing I'd like to do, get a little route worked out and go around to all the little free libraries in my local area. I couldn't do all of them because I think there are tons in Waltham Forest, but there are enough for me to go and do a nice little walk of the local area and leave a book, take a book kind of thing. I've got a lot of books I do need to donate, so I'm not going to take a book unless I really, really want it though, so I'm not just going to take any old book. I do have one other book on the go that I've almost forgotten about, and that is No One Is Talking About This, which I can't remember the author, but quite controversial. A lot of people hate it. I'm not sure how I feel about it at the moment. It's certainly readable for me, but I'm about halfway through, so we'll see how we go, and hopefully at some point I'll give you a nice review for Aveline, The Bewitching of Aveline Jones. But if you like this style of video, let me know in the comments, and hopefully I will see you again here soon. Bye.